What is the role of the India Stack in the time of a health emergency like the one we're in right now and when we come out of it? Joining me to talk through some of this is Arvind Gupta, head and co founder, Digital India Foundation, and before this, CEO of MyGov. Mr. Gupta, could you talk to us about the imperative for India's digital public goods in solving hard problems? What is the current crisis telling us in real time about the build out you'd like to see happening?
In human race, when you build a digital infrastructure for certain applications, gets used for many other things. And in India, which has actually taken control of its own digital destiny, I think this has really played out very well. As you know, that we have about 10 platforms in the world which have a billion users. Five of them belong to private entities based in the US, mostly on the West Coast, and four of them belong to private and slightly undisclosed entities based in China, in Shenzhen mostly. Amongst all this, India launched its own platform based on an identity platform about 10 years ago. It was not really a platform then, but last 5 years we converted it into a platform as a country. And the platform is called India Stack / Aadhaar Stack, whichever name you want to give it, because it is based on Aadhaar, which is a digital identity for every single Indian. Today, 1.25 billion Indians have a digital identity, and it works both ways for the people who are connected to the digital superhighway, the internet, or even who are not connected. And that is the beauty of this platform, that it works for both the included on the digital inclusion platform and who are not even included, they can still avail of it in an assisted manner. Now, this is a very important point when we discuss further. Two, this whole platform is based upon, as I said, the Aadhaar, the identity. And what is the identity? It's a number authenticated by your biometrics. So it is who you are, not what you know. What you know is your username, password. What you have is a second level of authentication, which is a debit card or a bank card with along with your ATM PIN code. That's what you have. When you put the thing inside a bank machine and punch in your ATM PIN, money comes out. This is who you are. This is your, by the way, 2 iris scans and 10 finger scans, 10 fingerprints. So actually, it had a very forward-looking thing in building iris also into this. Today, iris can be used in a completely touchless manner also. Completely touchless, completely contactless, you can do iris-based authentication. So now, based on this, about 6 years ago, the government, built out this whole massive, what is called the eKYC layer along with it. Now, what is the eKYC? Electronic KYC is digital onboarding, providing no paper, no exchange of paper. Without any exchange of paper, I can establish what are called the KYC norms globally. Now, we made it completely electronic. And having made it completely electronic and integrated with the identity, which is Aadhaar, brought the second layer to India Stack that you talk about, the paperless layer. So one is your layer of identity. Second is your paperless layer, which is this eKYC. And the third layer that we integrated along with it is the whole payments layer, what is called the Unified Payments Interface, the UPI. It is, to your audience would understand it very simply, it is the email equivalent of payments. How you send email from X to Y, you have a northwestern.edu ID. So from Northwestern to, if you have to send an email to Harvard or MIT, you send it to mit.edu, mit.edu replies back to northwestern.edu, and before the @ sign is your identifier. Similarly, now we have @ sign. After that is the name of the bank, which is the institution, and before that is your identifier, which could be your mobile number, could be your bank account, could be a user-generated number, could be your Aadhaar number. Now, all this made emails a very, very easy payments, just like emails. Now, all these three layers, three different distinct applications, when they start working together, that is exactly the definition of a platform. And in this platformization, India created what is called India Stack. And this is how we will understand how it got played out in this health emergency.
There are two big themes
One of
here.
the applications, let me complete
Yeah,
this. One of the applications of this India stack, which is now a public good, that means everybody can use it. And we have seen at least 4 different sects of people using it. Number one, businesses, banks, helpos to onboard customers, wherever there is a eKYC requirement, right? Number one. Number two, we've seen startups use this a lot to really have a basic ready foundation to build on top of it, right? So that basically means they don't have to build the foundation themselves. They can, build out their startups on top of it very fast. Number three, we've seen citizens use it, of course, and I can give you ample lot of examples. And the citizen usage of this and the last usage, which is the government usage of it, has really come out handy during this health crisis. What is the biggest government usage of this? It's the DBT program, the direct benefits transfers, where seeding the Aadhaar number into a list of beneficiaries has done multiple things. Needless to say, all duplicates, fakes, dead, ghosts have all come out, right? That itself has justified a 10x ROI on the investment on this India stack or the Aadhaar stack. But more than that, it enables payments to anybody over the payment rails of DBT, which is UPI. In almost 2 days, you could pay out to 300 million households in India. And the directed benefits, which ensure the benefits reach directly into the bank account. You don't have to queue up outside a welfare center to receive your benefit. You're not giving benefits to people who don't deserve it, who are not entitled to it. So both the entitlement part, delivery over a digital network, and money getting into a bank account directly where you don't have to go anywhere else to avail of that money is all there. And that basically means no corruption, directly into the bank accounts, and money available to the citizens at the bottom of the pillar to utilize it. This is what has saved India from people forming queues, from a all around riot and panic situation. We are a nation of 1.3 billion people, and you must appreciate that, based on the Prime Minister's call, last almost 40 days, we've had absolutely no riots, no panic, no crisis, because of lack of funds available, because of push from the government. So that's number one. Number two is a very good example of the societal usage of this platform. Citizens today, senior citizens, for example, need to avail of their pensions. An earlier era, pensions, and everywhere in the world, pensions require you to do what is called proof of life. Today, what is your proof of life? It's right here, this iris scan. So you don't need to leave, your home, or you can just go to an assisted center in what is called a citizen service center. Give a proof of life. Your pension will start coming using the same payment rails directly into your bank account. So the implications of this during a health crisis, in the government interventions, in making contactless, corruption-free payments, has been very, very high. And we all hope that we see the other end of this crisis very soon. I think this will come into play even a lot more as we see the economy opening up. A lot more government interventions will be required, and I think that's where the utility of India Stack will actually even go on.
So that's paperless and presence-less, and then there's a consent and identity template built into the India Stack. Given that we're in this COVID moment, I'd like to draw you into the specifics of a scalable COVID exit plan, considering that the virus is usually at least one step ahead of where we are in terms of what we're able to do policy-wise. Testing, contact tracing, isolation, distancing, smart zoning. Where do we want to be?
That's a good question. The identity platform that we talk about today is the identity platform based on a biometric. That's your biometric identity that identifies who is Arvind Gupta, who's anybody else. And once I give my Aadhaar number, the identity platform comes back and says, yes, this is Arvind, yes or no. That's about it. What you are coming to is a juxtapox of a new problem that we face. Now, I'll give two very interesting points of mine. This is my opinion. I'm clarifying it. That what this whole debate, and we live in a world where privacy, we've all debated it. We've talked about privacy globally. I am of a personal opinion that I think the definition of privacy over public good will change as we go forward. And the essence of your question comes there, because once we go forward into smart city, what will be the new smart city, if you ask me, and that's a very valid thing, because we are no longer in the same world as we were pre-January 2020, right? So a smart city will have to be more health and safety conscious, not from only criminal activities, and now public safety has to include personal safety of an individual or citizen, which was not there before from a health perspective. It was more from a safety of an individual from a bodily harm or anything else. Now, when that happens, what is that is required? You require to create a platform where real-time data is being shared with every citizen of anybody they are coming in contact with. Now, this is very, very critical. And this has to become the API or the stack or the platform for you to go out of your office, for you to, go to another building. So how, like the way you would go to a building and get a building pass and they would, put your name and address. More than that, they would need a phone-based app or a platform where you say, this is Arvind, and based on my app, now I'm getting a green light, which basically means I have not come in close contact with anybody else who has been infected. I've not visited in the last, 21 days, 30 days, a red area, containment zone. And, my health parameters I've self-certified are pretty okay. So based on that, that will have to get integrated at gates, at individual level, for the shared economy. It will have to get integrated. So a lot of new things will have to be rolled out in the smart city, where a little bit of compromise on privacy will create a much bigger public good of a better health and safer environment from a health perspective. And I think that is what we are going towards post-COVID. But right now, all the efforts are on the COVID, on the technology for COVID. But post this, I think we'll see a lot of impetus on that too.
So what are the market gaps and what are the state gaps? Where is incumbency weak, for instance? Where are those places where public digital goods can fill the gap without conflating the technology architecture with policy matters that are often not too clear?
What this whole thing teaches us is that when number one, on a very different note, India, when it works, it works. And you have to appreciate, again, India, as everybody said, when it decides to move, it does achieve a lot of big goals. Digital has been one area where whenever it's decided to move, it's moved. To give you an example, the Arogya Setu, which is the health bridge, in a way, application of India, has registered the fastest download of an application anywhere in the world. We are almost looking at 70 million downloads, could reach 100 million in the next few days. And it's been the fastest. So this is where I think the federal, the state governments, they cooperate very well, political differences aside. And we've come together as a country in many occasions in the past. And I think the personal popularity of the Prime Minister within the nation, that the nation listens to him, has really made us adopt certain practices and do things very, very differently. Now, and this has been no time for complacency or anything else. So that has been shown in the agile policy making that we've seen in India. Two other points I think I do want to mention here, that we would see a massive rollout of the Ayushman Bharat infrastructure, which is basically a health scheme covering all Indians, almost 100 million families, 500 million individuals, which are, and that definition, given that, now we may have a lot more economic pushbacks that may actually have to be increased. So this may end up covering more than 50% of Indians. So, excuse me, this build out, along with the digital health stack platform, maybe the need of the hour. And given what I was telling you about this travel stack of smart cities, I think all of this will need to work in very complementary manners with each other. So, and I think that's where the immediate future lies. Going forward, I think you will see this debate of data empowerment versus data privacy taking a little bit of backseat, not a huge lot, but a little bit of backseat. And I think in India we are seeing a revival of the corner shop digitized. And you've seen a recent deal from Facebook and Geo in India, which is a platform. See, very interestingly, Geo has named itself as Geo Platforms Private Limited. So now companies are appreciating the value of what is the word platforms versus infotech or technology. So I see that playing out as we go forward, as we see the post-COVID era.
You're someone who's architected the Smart City project in the 2014 manifesto. What's going to change?
I think the sandboxes that the playgrounds, the new, absolutely brand new playgrounds that will come up is the new Smart City stack for sure. The health stack will have to be relooked at. I also foresee that RegTech, regulatory technology, to be completely disrupted, and regulatory technology to be disrupted and legal, because I think what this crisis has also seen that a lot of things could be done without physical presence, whether that could be legal judgments, court hearings, or even agile policy making, which erstwhile was not, which was captive to many old thinking. So when you could make policies in a week and redefine them, I think using technology and the sandboxing of technology in for example, RegTech technology, and seeing what it implies and quickly making decisions will really become a new normal going forward. I think the stack exists. It has to be played in. I mean, you see the banking, mutual fund industry, and I've been talking to them for a long time that if people start thinking of this stack for digital onboarding, bring down their customer onboarding costs, like the way telcos have done, for a host of other services, and that starts servicing the upper middle class, really, which is not availing the DBT. I think there's a huge case for that. The pen and paper processes, as it is this crisis is showing, has to go away. It has to be a digital first. I'm trying to avail of a new facility somewhere for mutual fund industry. I still have to fill paper. I think we have to get away from that. All regulation exists to do digital signing. There is a platform that exists. So I think this will show that the middle that you're talking about, and that's why it's a great question, can completely be digitally onboarded. And you have to keep in mind, they are very mobile savvy. Yeah, I only want to leave your viewers with the thought that I think countries which give a lot of public welfare, where we've seen even the likes in the United States, people queuing up to get their benefits, unemployment, other benefits. I think it's time that we look at a digital first approach. Going forward, this is going to be the key. The ROI is self-sustaining. Basically means whatever you invest in it, you get it back within a short span of a year. And I think as we go forward, the travel smart city stack that I was talking about, I think we'll need a lot of global cooperation in countries collaborating with each other to enable global travel to begin again. Because if I may be using this stack in India, but when I travel outside India and reach Heathrow, and from Heathrow I reach, let's say, the San Francisco airport, this information needs to come with me and should be usable at the immigration in security in Heathrow and immigration in the US. So I think they will require a lot of global cooperation to get businesses back on track, the travel industry back on track, and the redefinition, as everybody's talking about, of the global world order will also include how we share data and how we use it to make the global citizenry a bit, more safe and more trusting each other.